It's June 2012, Ontario County, New York. Adam and Rose Chase had an argument that evening. Not their first, not their worst, but this one ended differently. Adam stormed out of the house, leaving behind his car, his keys, his wallet. He said, "I'll see you later," but that moment was the last time anyone would. Adam Chase vanished. We want to extend our deepest condolences to the Chase family. We hope that this video finds them in a place of peace and resolution, because this case, it haunted Ontario County ever since. Adam grew up here, a farm boy. His dad worked the land, his mom worked at the school. He was close to his younger sister, Becky, and his family described him as the kind of guy who loved barbecues, family get-togethers, just being around the people he loved. He married his high school sweetheart, Rose. They'd been together for about a decade. Rose worked in a manufacturing plant that made BB guns and air rifles. Adam worked from home at a call center. Friends and family said he lacked ambition in those days. He spent a lot of time gaming, a bit withdrawn, struggling with depression. But there was one bright light in his life, his son Tristan. Just 4 years old at the time, his father vanished. June 14th, 2012, Adam and Rose both called off of work. Something happened in the house, an argument. Rose would later admit to pushing and shoving. She claimed Adam stormed out, told her he wouldn't see her for a little while, but he left behind everything, his wallet, his car keys. The only thing he took with him was his phone. Adam's mom got worried when her calls and texts went unanswered. She finally reached Rose, who told her they fought and Adam had walked out. The next day his mother filed a missing persons report. And then came the rumors. Rose had been seen at a park with another man. A photo had been taken of Rose kissing someone who wasn't Adam. Adam's sister Jessica showed him the picture just before everything fell apart. Within days, flyers were going up, press conferences, and search efforts. And then 4 days later, the police showed up. They weren't sure what they would find. Maybe a struggle, maybe clues, maybe something darker. What they found was chaos, a house in disarray, dirty clothes, drawers yanked open, mess everywhere. But it was what laid beneath the house that chilled them. The basement wasn't finished. It was dark, damp, and smelled. Officers described it as the stench of decay, like a dead animal rotting somewhere out of sight. And the worst part, they didn't know it then, but they were inches away from the truth. After the search of Adam's home turned up no signs of where he had gone, the police started branching out into the neighborhood, into the wooded areas, into the farmland. But Ontario County is vast, miles and miles of thick, rural land where someone could disappear completely. It wasn't going to be easy. They had to start somewhere. Investigation began, working through the usual checklist, interviewing family, friends, co-workers. Was Adam struggling with addiction, a secret mistress, maybe financial trouble? But every answer came back as the same: no. Adam was quiet, introverted. He liked his video games, loved his son, and mostly kept to himself. The only thing missing from the home was his phone. His wallet was there, his car, and his keys. So if Adam left on his own, he left with nothing, no money, no transportation, no contact with anyone who could help. And that left one haunting question echoing through everyone's mind. Where was he sleeping? 4 days would pass with no word, and then suddenly, a flicker of hope. Adam's parents received a text from his phone. "I'm staying at a friend's house. Just need to take some time." The Chase family clung to this message. Maybe he really just needed some time to get away. Maybe he'd be back. They went public and held a press conference, pleaded with Adam to come home. Rose was there, standing beside them, but she didn't say a word, didn't cry, just sat there. And every time Adam's family called his phone, it went straight to voicemail. Then it went dark. For the first couple of weeks, Rose still joined the Chase family for dinner. She acted the part, at least for a while, but something shifted. She grew cold, distant, like she was just done. The more time passed, the more the family began to question everything, especially the text. Adam didn't text usually. If he wanted to talk, he would call. If he wanted to see you, he would just show up. That message, it didn't sound like him at all. The Chase family grew suspicious. They showed up at the house of Adam and Rose, asking questions, and Rose would brush them off with vague, empty answers. No tears, no concern, just disinterest. Meanwhile, the police weren't making progress. The case was stalling. It was starting to feel like it would become a cold case. Then a shift, a break that wouldn't come from law enforcement. One of Adam's father's friends, Rodney Miller, was a licensed private investigator. In passing, he had made the chilling remark, "I don't think Adam is alive. I think he's dead. And he's in that house or nearby." Adam's father agreed, and he hired Rodney right then and there to begin the search of his own. And that's when the truth finally started clawing its way to the surface. Rodney began digging deeper, pulling threads and pieces together. A picture of Adam and Rose's relationship. The photo of Rose kissing a man at the park was just a start. As he started asking around, more troubling details came to the light. Friends and family of Rose revealed this wasn't the first time she stepped out on Adam. She had multiple boyfriends over the years. This just happened to be the one that Adam found out about. When questioned, Rose brushed it off, claiming the man in the photo was just a gay friend. But Rodney wasn't buying it. It was July 4th, 2012, when Rodney decided to confront her. He pulled into the driveway of the home Rose once shared with Adam. She was outside doing some yard work, and he approached her. She slowly made her way to the side porch and sat down on the steps. Rodney leaned down, gently placed his hand on her shoulder and said, "Look, Rose, I know something happened that day. The two of you fought." Her demeanor shifted immediately. Her body stiffened, her voice trembled, and her eyes kept flickering nervously towards the basement window, just at ground level. And then suddenly, like a switch had been flipped, Rose shot up to her feet and blurted out, "Adam left the house. I don't know which way he went." She stormed into the house, slamming the door behind her. Rodney didn't hesitate. He got into his car and drove straight to the sheriff's house. Sitting in the man's living room, Rodney said, "I can't prove it, but I know Adam never left that house." The sheriff didn't share the same urgency. "We think Adam may have taken his own life," he said. "With his history of depression, maybe he just couldn't take it anymore. We'll probably find him in the woods." Rodney didn't believe that. Not for a second. He joined the search efforts personally, combing through the farmland and the thick woods, the creeks and the ponds, but no trace. And here's the thing. When Adam disappeared, the temperature were in the hundreds. If he had died out there, decomposition would have started within days. Buzzards would have led them right to him. But the skies stayed quiet. Then word got back to the family. Rose had already moved in the man from the photo into the house that she shared with Adam, just days after Adam had vanished. Ronnie asked Adam's father one hard question: "Do you think Rose is capable of murder?" The answer came back fast: yes. Rodney knew he had to go back to the house. He drove past the house a few times, finally building up the nerve. In late July, he stopped. Rose answered the door and let him in. She gave him a walkthrough of the home, showed him Adam's old gaming room, with the computer and his Xbox still sitting there like he would be back in minutes. But when they returned to the front of the house, Rodney spotted the basement door and asked to take a look. Rose paused and then walked him over to the door and opened it. As the door creaked open, the smell hit him, thick and rotting. Rodney descended the stairs slowly, no flashlight. By the time he reached the third step from the bottom, he knew something had died down there. The basement was gloomy, low ceilings with narrow corridors. Rodney made his way to the far back room. That's when he saw it, a tarp tucked right under the window Rose kept glancing at during the last conversation. He knelt down and lifted the edge. A dead rat. That's it. As he stood up, he was startled. Rose was suddenly right behind him. "That's what you're smelling," she said flatly. "The rat." Rodney didn't say anything. They just walked back up the stairs. But as they neared the front door, Rodney looked into the living room. and there he saw Rose's new boyfriend, Mark. Rodney turned to her and said coldly, "That's a good way to get yourself killed, having another man in your bed when your husband comes back." Rose didn't flinch. "I'm not taking him back," she said. Mark had moved in just weeks after Adam had vanished. Whatever doubts the family had before, those doubts were starting to look more like certainty. Mark would be interviewed by the police several times, at one point even agreeing to a polygraph test, which he passed. On paper he seemed irrelevant to the case. No red flags, no signs that he knew anything about what happened to Adam, or where his body might be, but Rodney wasn't convinced. He was driving himself mad. He knew Adam wasn't out there in the woods or lost somewhere in the cornfields. He was in the house, he just knew it. The weight of it all bore down on him. Adam's father was counting on him, desperate for closure. One day he called Rodney, voice trembling with frustration and grief. "Why'd you give up? It's been 5 months. The fucking police aren't doing a damn thing. If you don't find our son, no one will." Rodney could barely speak. The pressure was crushing. But that call, the pain in his father's voice, lit a fire in him. He couldn't give up, not now. Meanwhile, the Chase family began making public statements. They believed Rose had something to do with Adam's death or disappearance, and they weren't afraid to say it. Rodney had chased down every lead. Every trail went cold. He had no option left except one long shot, a wild card. The babysitter, specifically the babysitter for Tristan, Adam and Rose's son. Her name was Sandy. Rodney approached her and laid it all on the table. "I've got nothing left," he said. "You're my last shot. Do you want to play a game with me?" Sandy didn't hesitate. Rodney asked her to plant a seed of fear. The next time Rose came to pick up Tristan, Sandy would casually drop a bomb. "Did you hear?" she would say. "Police are going to make an arrest in the next day or two for Adam's murder." The moment came. Rose showed up late, joking upbeatly. I know, I'm late," she laughed. "You're probably mad at me." Sandy looked at her and said, "No, I just thought you were late because you heard the news." Rose blinked. "What news?" "They're about to make an arrest for Adam's murder." And right then, Sandy said all the colors drained from Rose's face. She turned as white as a ghost. Fast forward to November 2012, Sandy called Rodney, told him to go to Rose's home. He pulled into the driveway and the screen door creaked open. Rose stepped out, plopped down on the porch steps, defeated. Rodney joined her. Quiet and heavy, he looked into her eyes and said, "Do you remember me?" "Yes," she would say softly. "I've had enough," Rodney told her. "It's time. Where did you bury Adam?" Rose met his gaze, let her hand fall to her lap, and whispered, "I didn't bury him. I burned him." Rose was taken into custody and interrogated. She confessed, almost casually, like the horror of it had numbed her. She said the day of the argument, Adam pushed her away. She grabbed his arm. He pushed again, and his foot slipped, and he fell down the stairs. He wasn't dead though, just unconscious. So she drug him through the house and pushed him down the basement stairs. Once he was at the bottom, she pulled him by his ankles through the narrow basement corridors to the far back room, the same one where Rodney had found that dead rat. She sat him down, legs folded and torso slumped forward, covered him with a tarp, piled debris on top of him. One of the investigators, stunned, said, "I was there during the first search. Where was Adam when I was there in the house?" Rose looked at him, dead in the eyes, and said, "In the basement, under a kiddie pool." Adam's body stayed there for 5 weeks, decomposing. She said when she finally tried to move him, his body just fell apart. So she decided to burn him. She put his remains in a trash bag, loaded him into her car, and drove to her mother's house. That's where she burned him. She said Adam always wanted to be cremated. And to make it worse, she poured a bottle of Jägermeister on his body before setting it alight, because it was his favorite drink. After her arrest, the police took her to her mother's property in Potter. As they walked the grounds, they asked, "Where are Adam's remains?" Rose, with a cold, vacant look, pointed. "You see that trash can over there? The one with the lid? That's where his remains are." Rose opted for a trial. She was found guilty of second-degree murder and tampering with evidence, both first-degree felonies. She was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. Adam's parents were granted full custody of Tristan, and they raised him as their own. We hope the Chase family is doing well. I know this case is many years behind us now, but the pain, it doesn't just vanish. Losing a son, only to raise his child, is a bittersweet burden. With all the darkness in the world, it makes the light easier to appreciate. Love the people you have while you have them, because you never know when they're gone. If you found this case chilling and compelling, please like, subscribe, and follow for more. I post long-form true crime once a week, and short forms every day. Until next time, watch your back.